Good afternoon, you're watching HuffPost Live. I am Mark Lamont Hill. Male rape is far more common than we think. Statistics show that 1 in 10 rape victims is male. But little attention is ever paid to sexual violence experienced by men, and men rarely report the crime. And even when they do, they often get ignored or even worse, ridiculed. Take Andrew Sawyer. For 9 months last year, Sawyer claims that he was sexually harassed, abused, and assaulted by 4 male co-workers. Despite his willingness to point out the perpetrators and the fact that he passed multiple lie detector tests, he has yet to receive justice. What does this say about how our country sees male bodies? How does our country see the issue of male rape? Here to talk to me about that in our hangout is Andrew Sawyer, who is a sexual abuse survivor. He's also joined by his attorneys, Ron Haley and Diedrich Moore. I want to give you an opportunity to tell your story. What happened?
As I started Shaw, I knew a few people, and as I started to begin my process of working, they gave me a lot of criticism and sarcasm about the way that I dressed or the way that the friends that I hung around, and it just got out of hand from day one, actually. They gave me nicknames when I first got in. My manager and my boss, they all gave me nicknames. And from there on, as I'm trying to struggle just to keep on working without having to worry about anything, it just seemed like it wasn't getting any better. And that they just chose to just keep on picking with me. And I told all 3 stages of the management, and it seemed like no one was actually trying to hear what I was trying to say. The only reason I was going there was for work. I wasn't there to, speak on stuff like that. I just wanted to get my day's work in so that the next day I can do the same thing so that I can finish out my goal in life. One of my foremen, I was speaking to him, and, he just said stuff that I didn't think was supposed to be said from a boss. Like, they would say that I was a nigger lover because I hanged around my black friends, and that they would call me gay because I used to hang around them more than I hung around the other people, and that they just really, the really thing I think is they just wanted to put me down just to see me leave.
After the verbal assaults sort of escalated and continued, how did it turn into a physical thing? What happened? Where did it happen?
Well, it started early in the morning time when we had our meetings. It would come out as everyday thing. They would touch on me. My boss, he would grab me on my behind, and he would kind of have a firm grip on it to know that he would always say that I'm your, you work for me, this is what you're going to do. I have to listen to you. And from there, I guess everyone else thought it was okay to do it when I said that it wasn't. And they just kept on furthermore, from the pouring down water into my pants while I was working. They would strangle me, try to hold me up and down, try to bend me over onto boxes, and just gyrating me and stuff that is it was very tough, the type of environment that I was in, and I had to deal with it every day.
No matter what you said, no matter what you did, no matter how you dressed, there's absolutely no excuse for any of this behavior if it happened. But the question that people have, obviously, is why didn't you quit?
Prior to for me going to Shaw, I was in foster care. My mother passed away, and I have 2 younger brothers and a sister that are in foster care. And my goal in life actually is to get them back. And the only way I was able to make enough money so that I would have my own house and be able to take them in, and that's the reason I stayed, because it seemed like in my life that's what I wanted. I wanted to reunite with my family as my mom would want us to be. Once I told the supervisor I told him about his son because his son was the one that was actually just messing with me and picking with me every day. I told him, well, look, I'm having problems with this person. And he said, well, I'm gonna change that. But it came around to when I told him, all he would say is, hey, son, stop playing, and that kind of stuff. But it never really did anything.
So they saw it as horseplay. They saw it more as horseplay, joking around.
That's what they said it was. I told the HR lady, and I spoke to her, and she laughed at me.
Ugh.
And she told me to write some statements down, and she said they'll do an investigation and that they were going to let me go home with pay. And when I went home that day, it just, came to my mind that I need to tell somebody else who will actually listen to me. Because it seems like the HR lady was not trying to hear it. She just made fun of it.
How did law enforcement respond to you?
Well, I spoke to the law enforcement, and their words were to me was, let's say you was in a shower and you was at a football locker room, and it was you and a whole lot of guys. If a guy was to grab you on your crotch, do you think he was grabbing it to just joke around, or do you think he was grabbing it sexually? And that's the way he put it.
Wow. And you still pushed on. You still pursued it further.
Yes.
And
one thing, if you don't mind me interjecting,
please do.
real fast, is, they did not take this seriously. It wasn't until Andrew agreed to take the lie detector test that I believe the police department had no choice, the sheriff's department rather, had no choice but to make an arrest.
Did they ask for a lie detector test, or did you offer it?
They asked.
Wow. So they were skeptical, Ron, that your client was even telling the truth from the beginning.
Yes. They arrested the 4 guys actually at the Shaw site. So these guys weren't even reprimanded, as far as we know, by the company. They were still working there after my client was forced to leave. They were arrested there, charged with over 18 crimes, ranging from simple battery, false imprisonment, sexual battery, aggravated battery. Our officers were in constant communication with the district attorney's office, sent letters wanting to let them know that we wanted this pursued.
Yeah.
And all indication that, look, they were going to jump on board with this.